This is Tushar Kole from codewithtk.net. In this video, we're going to discuss about the email processing in Python. So in this video, I'm just taking an approach where you can literally use this material for your industry. So I have few use cases which I'll cover here. So the first use case is like that. So email filter automation. Imagine that you have a company. Let's assume that, okay, on this common mailbox, you are receiving emails for different categories of data. Let's say you have a sales data, you have shipment data, you have inventory data, and you have HR data. Let's say in this use case, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a Python which will basically read all the emails, then filter based on the criteria that you define, and then it's going to send to all other different department. Basically, moving on the next use case, like let's assume that you have a HR department, assume that you are receiving a resume. Then what you want to do is you just want to automate that process. So let's say whatever email comes into a HR mailbox, let's say you want to download the resume and keep it in a folder automatically. So we'll see how we can do that in Python here. In the next use case, your company has some announcement, okay, or the newsletters, which you want to send it to all the stakeholders. Okay, it could be your customer base. With that, what you can do is you can send it to the different users, entire user list. Okay, you look at the address from the address list and send it to all the users. So we'll cover all these three use cases in this demo here. Okay, so before you do that, before we progress, basically I'm going to use Gmail here, okay, to demonstrate. So I have 5 email rather here. So this will be my source inbox, where assuming that this email address is going to be your company email address, what I have shown in the picture. And then you have sales, you have shipment, you have inventory, and you have HR. So there are 4 different other mailbox. They are the target. Connect from Python, you need email ID and password. And you know, nowadays normal password will not work. You will have to create an app password. And how you can create an app password is very easy. Basically, all you do is you need to click on there and open manage your account, go to security tab. First, you have to create a 2-step verification. Okay, so 2-step verification you have to create. You can use this 2-step verification using your phone. And then you will see this app password. And here you can click and create an app password. It's a simple, straightforward process. So once you have this app password, use your email ID and app password as the password, not the regular password. Okay, so how we can do it? Let's create a new Jupyter notebook and let's start coding. So I'll just rename it as email. First, you have to do some import, so that those imports are going to be from email.message, import email message. Okay, then you need to import email itself. You need to import IMAP_lib. Then you need to import SMTP_lib. I'll explain why we need this. Then you need to import SSL. So that's all import. So there are 2 different protocols in order to connect to mailbox. Let's say you want to read email from mailbox. For that you need to use IMAP. And if you want to send email to some other external email, then you need to SMTP. In our first use case, we need to read it from one mailbox. That's why we need IMAP. And then similarly, you also have to send it to the target system. Then you need SSL. So we need both here. Okay, let me just zoom in a little bit. Okay, now here what we do is we create some variables. Okay, so instead of me typing all of it, let me just copy the variables. So yeah, we need few variables. We need like email address, email password. This is the app password. Then you need sales target email. So we need all the target emails. So shipment target emails, inventory target emails, HR target emails, company email. This is your input basically, or incoming, or all the emails will be coming here, and this is going to be 4 targets as shown in the script. Okay, also what we will do, we'll create another dictionary, and that dictionary is basically going to have the email address for different things. So what do you mean by this? Again, let me also copy these lines. So here I have created an email dictionary. Here you see email dictionary is sales. I'm just putting this sales email target. Email dictionary is shipment. I'm just giving the shipment target. So yeah, these are all my variables. Okay. So once I'm done with that, let me create two functions that will create a SMTP connections and the IMAP connection. Okay. So let me create a function to create the SMTP connection. Okay. Create SMTP connection. Okay. So what I will do is, so you know, for SMTP and IMAP there are different port. Okay. So let me just create a variable called SMTP port. SMTP port will be 465. Then let's do it like SMTP host. SMTP host for Gmail is going to be imap.gmail.com. Then we need to create a context variable, and that context will be ssl.create default context. Okay. So yeah, this is what you need. Then you can create a SMTP connection. Let's say I'll just name it as SMTP. SMTP is equal to, this is going to be SMTP library dot SMTP SSL. Okay, SMTP SSL. Then pass few parameters. First one is SMTP host. Second parameter is SMTP port. Third parameter will be context. Okay, context is equal to context. Sorry, this is context. Okay, this should be context. Context will be context. Okay, so once you have done this SMTP connection variable, then you need to log in. Okay, just do SMTP dot login. Then you pass this SMTP email address and password as a variable. So you have email address and you have email password. Okay, once we are done with that, then we'll just return SMTP. Okay, now let's create another similar function for IMAP connection. So to create IMAP connection. So for that, it's similar, only the port is different. Okay, so here let's create a variable like this. Mail server is equal to, this is going to be imap.gmail.com. Then let's create another port like TLS. TLS port is equal to, SMTP TLS port will be 993. Okay, let me create some more cell here. Then let's create a IMAP connection here, just like that. IMAP, we have IMAP library dot imap4 underscore SSL, because we want to create a secure connection. Then you just pass host is equal to mail server. Then you pass port is equal to TLS port. Then you can pass like key file is equal to none, and SSL context is equal to none. Okay, once you are done with that, next we need to log in. Yeah, will be email address and email password. Okay, so once we are done with that, let's just return IMAP. Okay, so we got the connection. So we have created two variables, two functions for creating the connections. Let's create another function. Okay, we can do a little later. Okay, so now let's try to connect, try to read the email, and then try to proceed. Okay, so let's say I just create a variable called IMAP is equal to create IMAP connection. Then I create another variable SMTP is equal to create SMTP connection. So now I got this connection. Let me run this cell. Yeah, it works. So it has created this connection. Now first we have to select from the, first we have to read and then we have to write, or we have to send email. First we have to read email and then we have to send email. Okay. So for that, so what we will do, imap dot select. Okay, we want to read the entire inbox. Okay. Anyway, this is default, but let's just do it anyway. So you can do it like this. I think it just is gonna work, no problem. So you can do it like inbox. Okay, imap.select inbox. So you have selected inbox. Then what we do is we create return code. Okay, actually, then we have to search. Okay, you have to search for all the, first you are connecting to mailbox, then you need to search all the mailbox, whatever you want to do. Okay, now you want to search everything, but in this search function you can search specific email, you can search by specific text, you can also search by date. But for us, because we want to search everything, we'll just pass none and then second parameter as all, which means we are searching everything, and that returns two value. One value is the return code. Let's say I just define as this return code, and then the next value is the message. Okay, now let's run it. Now if I just see the return code, you see return code is okay, and if I see the messages now, you see messages also has something. Okay, so but the thing is, okay, why messages are empty is because there's no message in this folder, in this mailbox. So let's do one thing. Okay, you see this email is totally empty. So what I'll do, I'll just create few emails. Okay, I'll just send it to the same emails. So I'll just say test sales email. This is going to be my subject. Body is not required, but I'm just keeping the same thing as a body. Then let's create another email. This is called on the same mailbox. This will be test HR email. Test HR email. Anyway, let me keep some attachment here. Okay, I'll just put my CV here. Okay, so I have created another email, HR email, and then let me create a third email that will be sales HR inventory. Test inventory email. I'll just create same thing as a body. Okay, let's create like this, body. Okay, then the final one is let's say test shipment email, test shipment email body, and then let's create one fifth email which does not follow any category. Okay, so just simple test email. Okay, so now this mailbox has 5 email. Okay, and what we'll do is let's try to run our code and see what happens. So if we run our code now if we see the messages, you see messages has 5 values. So this 5 corresponding to each email. Basically it's kind of sequential number. This is the message ID, however this is in the byte format. So basically what to do, if we just do messages.split, okay, list object doesn't have split. Okay, okay, this is already a list. Okay, got it. So if I do messages 0, you have this. Okay, so basically the entire value inside messages 0. If you go 1, it's out of, okay, got it. So the message is 0, you have to take the first element of it. So what do you mean by this is, now let's create the messages list. Okay, so what we need to definitely check if the return code is okay. Return code is not okay, that means there is something wrong, we are not able to connect, we are not able to fetch. But our case return code is okay, but we'll just give a check. Okay, we'll say return code is equal to okay. Okay, then let's create a message list. Message list is equal to messages 0 then split. Okay, so we have just got the message list here. If we just check message list, you see these are all list of message IDs, and that's in the byte format. Okay, it's not just number, it's a byte. Next, what we'll do is we'll look through this message list. Each message list corresponding to one email. With this, just with this ID, we can basically, with any ID, we can basically pull the entire content of the email and then do whatever we want to do. So what I mean by that is, let's create a loop. Okay, for message ID in message list. Now what I want to do is, I just don't want to go in the forward order, or the starting to end. I want to go in the reverse order. Yeah, so we'll go reverse order, because we want to start with the fifth, read it, then process it, and then delete it. Then we'll try the fourth message, read it, delete it. Because if I start with 1, then what I'll do, I'll first read 1, then read it and delete it. If I do that, then the second message become number 1. Then we'll keep doing this, processing the same messages. Okay, that will create a confusion. That's why I want to go in the reverse order. I think this will be clear when we do the testing. Okay, now, so what I'll do is, let's fetch the email. What we can do is, we can do imap.fetch. Then what do you want to fetch? With the current message ID. Okay, current message ID, and then we have to do this RFC 822. Okay, RFC 822. Then what it will return is, it will return two things. Okay, it will return the data and type. Okay, let's try to run it and see what happens. Okay, so it gave everything. Let's see what is type containing. Type is okay. That means, again, it is giving you the status, or we can just, instead of type, we can say status. Okay, again, if it is giving you the status, and then next one is data. Now the whole email message will be available as part of the data. And then if you just do it like that, data 0 1. Okay, so it's part of data 0 1, but it will not be in this format. It will be in just as a byte format. So let's try to see what this data 0 1 contains. You see, it is in the byte format, but we want in the format of email messages. That's why we have to use this email dot messages from bytes. Okay, and then take this byte. Once you do that, then the message will be a full form email messages. Okay, let's run it and see. Let's check the message. Okay, I'll just take one message. This is the last message, and if you see, there are different elements of it. Okay, if you see, there is something dictionary like property here. If you see messages.items, you see it has subject, it has from, to, content type, and all these things. Okay, so we'll make use of all these things. So that means if I just access it like that, if I just access message.subject, okay, so I have the subject. So let's create that variable. Okay, let's create that subject variable. Subject is equal to, what we have just seen is message with the key subject. Okay, then you can also get the content type. Well, of course it's not required, but we can do it like content type is equal to message. Then similarly the key is, there is a specific function actually, get content type. So now we got the subject and content type. Okay, next what we want to do is, let's see that our logic is simple. So what we want to do is, if sales word is part of the subject, we'll assume this is a sales email. If the HR word is part of the subject, we'll assume this is an HR email, like that. Okay, of course in real life the logic could be more complex, but since that's not our focus, we just want to create a simple logic. So let's say that I want to create a new function. So once I got the subject, then what I will do, I'll just get the type. Okay, the type of the email. Type of the email is, let's say, get email type. Okay, or yeah, get email type. Let's say we are going to create this function, and what we want to pass is, we want to pass the subject variable. Okay, yeah, this function is not defined yet. Let's define that function now. So what we do is diff get email type. What it is taking is taking subject, and what we want to do is, we want to just check. So what I'll do, I'll first make it a lowercase, okay, so that it becomes easy for us to search. I'll just make the subject as lower. Then what I'll do, let's say type, I'll just initialize it to none. Then what I'm going to do is, I'm just saying if the sales word, sales in subject, then type become sales. Then elif, say HR in subject, then type become HR. Okay, let me just copy this 2 more times. Okay, the final one is, okay, third one is inventory in subject, this will be inventory. Okay, then the shipment, then this type will be shipment. Now if you see, we have created a dictionary, sales, shipment, inventory, HR, and that will give us, so we'll make use of this type and to get our target email address. Okay, so with this line, now we got the type ready. Next what we'll do is, we'll just check if type not equal to none. Okay, if type not equal to none, because you see we have initialized the type as none. If none of this is, if the subject is not matching, then we're going to ignore those emails. Okay, we're not going to do anything. Then what we'll do is, we have the message now. We have to, same message, we're going to send it to a different system. So remember, this message will already have to and from email address. But now the to email address has to change, because I want to send it to a different target location, target email address. So how we can do it is, we can just use this command, replace header. Replace header. What header we want to replace? That is to, because this is part of header. Okay. Then what we do, we have created an email dictionary. Okay. In this email dictionary, I'll just pass this type. This type become key. Okay. And then we got the email address. Okay. Next, now we have to use SMTP because we want to send it. Now we have, actually what we have just done is, we have just kept the same message, just we replace the header to address, and then now we are sending it. This is the send message and same thing. Okay, message. Okay, so this is what we want to do. Once we have sent it, let's just print that which email we have processed. Okay, this is Epstein completed processing email with subject. Then let's use this subject. Okay, so we are almost done. Now what we have to do, we have to just do SMTP. Let's clear the connection, close the connection. Let's say smtp.q quit, and then imap.close. Okay, now if I run it, if everything I have done it properly, then our job should be done. Okay, so now before I run it, let me just remove this space. Well, actually, email was already sent to all of this email, but surprisingly I figured out those emails are coming here in the spam folder. So that was the confusion. However, if you see, this is, for example, this is your shipment. Okay, we have received the shipment email. Then if you see here in this email, we get the inventory email. Then if you see Acer, you see this is the Acer email, and I believe Acer had this attachment. When you see, even the email came with the attachment. Okay, so yeah, I think that's pretty much it in this. However, one more thing we can do it actually. Let's say you want to delete after reading the email. Okay, if you want to say that, okay, I have already processed the email, let me delete it. So how we can delete it is basically you can use this imap.store function. Then we just pass the message ID flags. So you're just marking the flags as deleted. That's it. Yeah, if you just do this, then it will delete all the email. Let's run it once again and see. So it's just printing all the subject, inventory and everything. And now it should be deleted. If I go now and if I refresh it, yeah, all the emails are deleted. But you see the test email, which does not follow any of this category, it's not processed and deleted. These will be remaining. Yeah, for example, there could be some other important email which does not belong to any other department. You don't want to delete that, and that part is also working here. So if you run it again, then you shouldn't find this again, okay? Because the mails are deleted already. So you see, it's not even going inside this if block. So yeah, that's it for the first use case. Moving on, we'll do the next other two use cases. Okay, thanks. Moving on, in this case, now we are going to move into the use case number 2. So if we try to remember use case number 2, here is the diagram. In this diagram, basically from HR mailbox, we just want to download all the files or the resume and keep it to a particular folder. So this is our use case number 2. So let's see how we can do it. So basically, as you can understand, here we are not sending any email, we're just reading the email and downloading into local folder. That means we don't need any SMTP connection here. Okay, here we just need IMAP. So let's create an IMAP connection. Create IMAP connection. Then as usual, we'll just say imap.select. That's going to be inbox. We just get the return code and messages equal to imap.search. Then the first parameter is none, second parameter is all. We want to search all. Now what do we want to do? We say if return code is equal to OK, then message list. This is almost similar to what we have already done previously. It will be messages 0 dot split. So we take all the emails. Similarly, let's say we want to go from the reverse order, because in case we want to do something with the process email, So going reverse order is better. So what do you do? For message ID in message list reverse order, we say status data equal to imap dot fetch message ID as usual, as we have done last time, is RFC 822. Okay, so we got the data, then the message from this data. So basically, yeah, the status, we can check the status should return as okay, but I'm not checking it right now. Let me take the message now. So message is going to be email dot message from bytes, then from data 0 and 1. So that's going to be our message, which we have done previously. It's exactly the same thing. Now let's message is multi-part. That means the message has attachment. Okay. Then what we have to do? We have to collect all the attachment. There could be more than one attachment. So we can write a loop just like that. For attachment in message dot get payload. So this payload is actually one attachment. Now what we can do, we can get the file name, because I want to save exactly the same file name as in the attachment. So file name, what we can do is you can get it like string casting string, then doing attachment dot get file name. So we got the file name. Then we are just making one check. Sometimes file name come as none, which is not on your attachment. So just do this check. File name not equal to none. Okay. And then get the content. Content is equal to, could be string attachment if attachment is multi-part. Okay. Else attachment dot get payload, and to decode is equal to true. That's it. That should do our job. Let's go into next line. We can have this statement here. Now what we want to do, we want to write this in our local file. Okay. So let's say that we want to open a file handle is open. Then let's say I want to write in a folder called files / file name. I'm just using a string to create the complete file path, and because this file content will be byte, so we're just opening it W as writable mode and B as binary. Then we're writing the file content w.ape.write, so ape.write content. Okay, and then we're doing ape.close, and finally we'll close our IMAP connection. So that should do our job. Let's run it. Before running, let me just see this folder exists. I'll have to create this folder. So what is my current directory? Okay, it's desktop tutorial. Let me see, go there, and then we need a files. So I already have few files here. Let me delete these files. So now there's no file here. Okay. Now let me just see what is the source of my email. So basically we are creating a new connection, and this is my source email address. Email address is, so let's check in this email if I already have any email or not. Yeah, there's nothing, there's no email here. So what I can do, I'll just send one email. Okay, so test. Okay, I'll just say test attachment. So here what I'll do is I'll just take few attachment We go to documents. Okay, there is one Word document, there is one PDF, there is one image. Okay, so I'm just copying all these three attachment. Okay, so I have this email available. Now let me run this code. My files folder is still empty. Let me run it. Okay, you see there is a syntactical problem and there is one extra bracket. Okay, yeah, now let me run it again. Closing parenthesis, it's the same line. Okay, I see. First the 0th element and then the first element. Okay, so it says that authenticated success. So now if I look into my files folder, you see it has downloaded all the three files here. That was exactly the three files in my email box, as you can see. So all the three files appear in my file folder. So that's it for this use case. Now let's move into the next use case, or the final use case for us. For the final use case, if we just have a look at the use case again, this will be, so if you see that, this is going to be a final use case. Here what we want to do, there's a company announcement, there is a folder. In this folder there will be, say, announcement file or some attachment file, and we'll just look into a list of email ID and then we'll send the email ID with the attachment with a group of users. It's basically sending email with a list of users with an attachment. So it's just the opposite. Here we are just reading email, but now we have to do sending emails. So as you can guess, here we need an SMTP connection. Okay, so I'll get SMTP get. Okay, it will be create SMTP connection. So we got the SMTP connection. You can understand we need an SMTP connection here, but before that we need few more import. Okay, so we need few more import, that is from email dot mime dot multipart. Then we need another import from email dot mime dot base import mime base. That will be from. Okay, so we got few imports. Then okay, we need one more import, that is encoders from email import encoders. Okay, now we have created the connection. Now let's say, yeah, so what we can do is, now you have to create a message, email message, that will be of my multipart, because our email will have an attachment. Now let's say message dot subject, just set the subject. Okay, let's say our subject here is corporate announcement. Okay, let's say this is our subject. Okay, now we have to give to and from address. Okay, so let's fill up message, then to. Okay, let's just fill from address is my current email, and let's say to address is, I create a list. Okay, let me create a list here, that's email to. Here let me create few email addresses. Let me copy this email addresses of sales, HR, etc. Okay, I'll just copy a couple of email address. So I got one sales, then I'll have one HR, sales, HR, let's say shipment, let's say inventory. So this is my email address, to email address, and what we can do is, let me create some space here. Here I have to do message dot to, that will be your comma email to, and then you have to create the attachment part. Let's say as a part is equal to my base. This will be application, then second parameter will be octet stream. Okay, then missing part dot set payload. So set payload is basically, this is your actual file content. Okay, let's say I want to do it like this, create a content like this. Okay, content is equal to, let me just create a file handle, f is equal to open, then my file's name, that will be under files folder. Then let me see what files I have. Okay, let me check any of this. Open this file, and then it will be in the read and binary mode. Then content is equal to f.read. Okay, then let me close f. Okay, so we got this content. Now what we want to do is we want to set this payload. Yeah, just let me put this content. Then what we want to do, you have to encode. Encoders dot encode, encoders dot encode base64 part. Okay, then what we want to do, we want to add a header as part of the part dot add header. Here that will be content disposition, attachment, file name equal to, let's say this is my file name. Okay, now what I have to do, I have to attach this message dot attach. Then my next step is to call a send mail. Okay, I have this SMTP connection dot send mail. In this send mail, here I have to give form address and to address. So I have this form address as this. Then my to address will be my list, that is going to be email to as string. That's the message content. And then finally we have to close the connection. SMTP.close. If we run it, okay, there is a syntactical problem. Okay, attachment. You see, there will not be code here. It will be at the end. And then the file name, we have to use double quote because we are already using single quote. Okay, and then we have to close this single quote. Yeah, that should work. Remove some spaces. So looks like, let's check if it is working. Let's check in our mailbox. So what we have done is, this is our to address. So all the 4 email addresses are to, and this is our form address. And we are just taking the content of this file, setting this as a file name, and then sending it to all the 4 email address. So let me just go and have a look into this email address. And what was our subject? Subject is corporate announcement. Okay, now let's have a look at it. Read the subject as no subject, and attachment name, there's no name. Okay, let's just check what is wrong in it. Subject is corporate announcement. Okay, there's a spelling mistake. Subject is corporate announcement. Then file name looks fine. What is the content? Let me just have a look at the content. Content looks fine. Yeah, now you see subject has changed, but the attachment name has not changed. So I think this is the issue. Content disposition. Let me just try it now. Let me just change the subject announcement to 1. Okay, it is completed. Let's check it now. Yeah. Okay, so that was the mistake. Now we see the file attachment is working fine. Let's check with the other email address. So it's coming for all other email address. So it appeared to be working fine. I think there was a couple of mistakes in my type. There are a couple of typos here. This should be content, and another typo was the subject spelling. So because of this two, it was not working, but now it's working. I think you got the point. So now if you want to add more attachment, what you have to do is you can just copy this part and just change the file name. And actually file name should be the actual file name. You should not keep the folder path here. Okay, let me change the subject name here, and let's say that I want to send one more attachment. Okay, instead of single attachment, how we can do it? I have to create the similar thing. Yeah, definitely I can create a loop if I want to. But yeah, let me just do it here linearly. Let's say I want to open another file here. So I take this file. Then what I can do is, yeah, just everything else should remain same. Only I'll change the file name here. I change the file name, and I'm just attaching this part as well. So both the part is attached. Now if I try, let me change the subject to 3. Okay, let's see. Okay, looks like it has completed now. Let's have a look at it. Now, one PDF, one document. I think that's it for our current session. Yep. So okay, thanks for watching. If you really enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to my channel, and please give a like and share with your friends. Thanks for watching.